Good morning, folks. Welcome to KingVideo channel. My name is Jack, and I'm going to open up a can of worms with this. This gun is safe, by the way. I'm going to show you people and or start a discussion about when you point this gun to a target, where do you hard focus your eyes? Now, I know you've heard this. You say, gosh, I've heard this thing 1,000 times. But this one's going to be a little different. I want to talk to you again about where you hard focus when you point this firearm at a target and try to make really tight groups. If you do a search on the internet, I guarantee you 98% of the people you hear talk about sighting a firearm, they're going to say hard focus on their front post. Now, again, I'm going to tell you some people that are very qualified to argue that point about hard focus on their front post. And I've got quite an elaborate setup back here to replicate where you focus and what the picture looks like when you shoot that firearm. So let's take a look. Stay tuned. Again, it's going to open up a can of worms, and I realize that, but I'm telling you, I've got some very qualified people that will tell you do not hard focus on the front post. So watch this really closely. Now, folks, first of all, I'm not a professional shooter, but I've been shooting handguns and rifles and shotguns all my life. I do practice a lot, a fair amount, and that's what it really takes. So I did a bunch of research on this, and now I've set up quite an elaborate demonstration to show you what these different focus points actually look like. Now, I am somewhat of a professional photographer, so I have a real good understanding of photography. And I've got this camera set up with a aperture and lens that replicates the human eye. So it's pretty interesting. When I'm going to take some still photos, and I'm going to hard focus that lens on the front sight, and then I'm going to hard focus the lens on the rear sight, and hard focus then on the target downrange. And you'll get, which is really amazing, how close it is to the human view when you see these photos. And then you think, well, gosh, maybe I do need to kind of rethink the way I'm shooting and the way I'm acquiring that target and trying to make accurate shots. And again, I've got this camera set up to replicate the human eye, and on this photograph I have got it focused on the front sight post. So I will take a picture, and you know what, the sights may not be lined up on the target exactly because it's so hard to get all this stuff all lined up, but it's pretty close. And the hard focus on the front sight post is very clear. Take a picture there. Now here's the actual photograph while hard focused on the front sight. I'm going to come back to these photos and we're going to talk about it a little bit, but here's just a preview of the picture I just took. Now I'm going to focus back to the rear sight opening right here. And wow, gosh, that is so cool. All right, I'm going to take a picture. This is now focused on the rear sight opening. And here is the photo of hard focused on the rear sight. Again, we're going to look at these in a moment and talk about them. Now, I'm going to hard focus on the target. Okay, folks, we're back to the picture of the hard focused on the front sight. And when you look at this and I look at it, I can certainly see how it is. It really is probably the best point to hard focus on when shooting a handgun or a rifle. I realize that the target in the background looks really blurred, but this is pretty close. I mean, if you went out to, and this is 10 yards, by the way, from the target, so it's 10 yards away. And you might say, well, gosh, my eyes don't blur that much, but you'd be surprised. And another thing now, too, we have to consider your eye health and your age and all that, and I realize that. But I'm going to go to the next two pictures, the rear sight and then the hard focus on the target. When I hard focus on the target, it's definitely not the way for me anyway, and I can't imagine that anybody else would have much success trying to hard focus on the target because the gun just blurs out. So Anyway, take a hard look at this. Now, I'm going to show a photograph in just a moment of all 4 scenes together so we can talk about that and look at it. And again, a lot depends on your eye health and your age, and I realize that, but this really drives the point home right here. Now this one is with the camera's hard focused on the target. And as you can see, the gun is just a blur. It's kind of hard to replicate this in the field, but you can do it. If you'll step out 10 yards from the target, hold the pistol down toward the ground, hard focus directly at the target, and then bring the pistol up into view, and you will see that the gun is really blurred. And it's hard to do it because your eyes are going to automatically want to focus on the gun when they come up into the view. It's just the nature of eyesight. Something comes into your eyesight and your eyes will focus on it. So to me now, hard focus on the target, forget that. I mean, and certainly in my case, and what I'm seeing in this test, that is not the way to plan on shooting. Now folks, this one is hard focused on the rear sight, and it's pretty tough to even tell the difference between hard focus on the rear sight and the front sight post because the pistol is relatively short. If this were a rifle, it would be more pronounced. And I would dare say it's hard to make your eyes hard focus on one or the other in my view. But what I'm seeing here, really, if you were to hard focus on the rear sight opening, then that would be okay. I mean, look at it here. It looks, you can certainly see a good picture and I realize, by the way, that the sight is not properly aligned, and I realize that. So it's not a ton of difference between hard focus on the rear sight and the front sight post on a handgun. Now I'm going to pull up the 4 together, and so we can look at all 4 together in one image, and you can really make a real good comparison. So here are all of the images grouped together. Now the one on the bottom right is what I call the soft focus on the target, which is very similar to hard focus on the target. You can't hardly tell the difference between the two. So the main thing to look at is the top 2 pictures as compared to the bottom 2, and you decide. And please leave comments. Let's open some discussion about your shooting, what you see and what you prefer. And this is all about learning and getting better and going out and practicing. The reason for this video is to create awareness and is for training and to try to all learn together. So please leave comments below, and if you would, click that little button, that little like button, I would appreciate it, and subscribe to the channel. Again, it's all about learning, and today I didn't shoot that well, but the pictures really do tell the story. I mean, these still photos, it's pretty amazing, really. So do your research, stay out on the range and shoot and practice, folks. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.